What's up there, people? How you doing? Listen, welcome to Famous Football. I'm your host, Nate. Let's chat football. But before we get into everything, right, about the December crisis, I know you already saw the thumbnail. I know you already saw the title for this video, so you read it, yeah? But before we get into all of that, how about you like this video, right? And then later down the line, you can subscribe and do all of the good stuff. Share, please. I need it, all of that. This is a new channel, so thank you very much. Now, let's get into it. Chelsea and Madrid, yeah, the December crisis. I'm not necessarily a Madrid fan. I'm a Chelsea fan, right? But I kind of want Madrid to pick up form because I don't want Barcelona winning anything there is to win this season, right? So it's more like let's go Madrid because I don't want Barcelona to win anything. But we're gonna discuss the Madrid and Barcelona crisis, and not Chelsea crisis, right? The December crisis, I call it. What's going on? Right, basically, both teams are in somewhat of a terrible form, right? If you're a Chelsea fan, you know Chelsea is in the trenches right now. Having won a game in their last four, right? Drew to Arsenal, lost to Fulham, drew with Bournemouth, and then lost to Atalanta. In their last four games, having won, so we are in the mud. Madrid, on the other hand, only won 4 games in. 4 games in their last 10 matches. They drew 3. They also lost 3. So it haven't been good for either one of them. Now, the question here is it the coaches? Because I know on both ends, everybody's going at the coaches. Everybody's going at Maresca. Everybody's also going at Xabi Alonso. There are rumors that he could potentially lose his job. I mean, Xabi Alonso. Now, Maresca, on the other hand, we haven't heard anything about him losing his job. It looks that Maresca might be safe. Again, might be safe. Maybe everybody's waiting for the end of the season to be able to see what they can talk about, what they can discuss with Maresca, and where we can go from there. But in this video, I'm going to be basically telling you what I think the bad form is going and what both they need to do in order to rectify what's going on. Now, we know for Chelsea, when it comes to Chelsea December form, right? Listen, we only hope, we only pray to God that it will get better. Yeah, listen, time and again, it never gets better, right? We always see this kind of a performance in December from Chelsea, and then we pick it up in January, but hopefully we pick it up in December. We not wait until January, we pick it up in December, right? This have to end. But let's start with Madrid to begin with. It's been a really interesting one watching Real Madrid play, right? Listen, I follow Real Madrid since Xabi came. Now I've been watching Real Madrid game time to time. They are Real Madrid. Even if you're not a fan of the club, you definitely do watch that game time to time because they are almost every time involved in something big, in something huge in the Champions League. So you get to watch them one way or the other. But when Xavi took over, I was watching them in the club walker, right? Honestly, he tried a couple different systems. So now I kind of give you an idea of what he's going to do. So you know, tactically, the man is not lacking, right? He have a lot of options. So the problem is not so much tactically, right? I would say with him, I think it's the adjustment process. That's what taking a bit, right? So now you say be patient. And now when it comes to Chelsea and Real Madrid, we're not used to being patient. Yeah, patient is not in our dictionary. It's not in our blood. Yeah, because with Chelsea, even when Roman was there, you either win or you out. And Real Madrid is the same thing. Either you win or you get out. We're not here to build nothing with you, right? So that's why I think we Chelsea fans, especially now looking at these new owners and whatever they're doing, and we're trying to be patient and not of that. It's not working. It's not, honestly, it's not working. We struggle. We talk about. We want change. We want something new. And I think at Madrid it's the same thing. Because if you look at what Xavi is trying to do at Madrid, it's quite different from what's being done at Madrid in previous years. And now there are also news about it, that they'll report about it, that even kind of highlight that fight as well in terms of Madrid being used to that Galactico type of players. And when they come in, they bring in coaches that don't necessarily have to implement any type of system or whatever. It's more like you going to go coach the 2010 Brazil team, right? There's no coaching to do. All you need to do is get them a football and let them play, right? And I think that's the same style Madrid try to implement, right? Basically, because if you look at Madrid, all they do is bring already developed, right, or Galactico, quote unquote Galactico type of players, bring them to the club, and then just bring coaches that can be able to manage them. manage the players, not necessarily coach them, just manage the players. But now with Xabi, it's the opposite. He's actually a coach, not necessarily a manager. So he's trying to build a team, right, that can be able to play together. Everybody can play for one another, like he did at Leverkusen. And now that was easy because it's Leverkusen. You get to coach. They are a smaller club compared to Real Madrid. I'm not saying necessarily they are not a big name club, but compared to Real Madrid, they are definitely a small club, right? So now he's at Real Madrid right now, trying to implement all of this, coaching, tactics, build up, and all of these things, right? Madrid is not necessarily used to that because you saw with Ancelotti, all he needed to do was make sure Vinicius Jr. feel okay about himself, make sure Bellingham feel okay about himself, make sure whoever is there, what's his name, Mbappe feel okay about himself, and all of them, time and time immemorial. Even when Zidane was there, right, it's the same thing. There wasn't really a coaching that was done. That's why I tell people, me rating Zidane, I don't really rate Zidane as a coach, as a manager. I see it because as a coach, I didn't really see what necessarily Zidane did. Now, no disrespect to the man in his footballing ability, because we all know what Zidane did in his career, right? So I'm not going to question that for one bit, right? But that's the kind of a system that has been at Real Madrid. They bring in Galacticos, right? And then you just bring in a manager that can be able to kind of massage their ego, make sure their confidence is there, and they can be able to perform. Hence, Carlo Ancelotti once said, right, I don't need to tell them how to play. They already they already know how to play. Or I just, put them out there. I'm not so much about structure. Just make sure they are in the position wherein they can be able to perform at the highest level. And for him, that will involve maybe making sure their confidence. So it's like basically pumping their ego, right? So it's like that's why you see Madrid players are very proud, very egotistical. And I think as a Barcelona, at Madrid, right, and that's the problem, right? Because you saw that little fight. That's why when Xavi first took over, there was a bit of a thing going on with him and Vinicius Jr., Bellingham, and all of those big name players that were already there, right? Except Mbappe, right? You saw that little ruffle here and there. So I feel like that readjustment, right, to that entire system that now Bellingham has to run. I know Bellingham already have the work rate. Mbappe has to run. Vinicius has to run. They haven't been used to it, right? They've been just slacking in there, and now everybody get to do whatever they want. We're under Carlo Ancelotti. Now with Xabi, he's demanding something from you, right? So you get to be a part of the defense, the defensive aspect of the play, as much as you are part of the offensive aspect of the play. And that, I think, that's what mostly all of them are adjusting to. And it's interesting to see. So tactically, I don't think that is the problem. And there have been rumors that Xabi might lose his job and whatever, right? And do I think Xavi should leave Madrid right now? No, I don't think so, right? I don't think he should leave Madrid right now because tactically, I don't think it's the problem, right? The man has a brain, and I think tactically he is a good coach, right? He might be struggling right now. Obviously, that's normal to me, right? At least I'll say, because if you're trying to implement something new, right? Like it's not just a new philosophy to the club, right? It's going to take you a bit. Especially players that have already been there, they've been there for a while and they're used to a certain way of life. You're not just gonna just kind of snatch that away from them, right? So now I feel like they're all trying to understand where to go, and I think maybe they're gonna find a middle ground to go to be at, and then they can go. But in terms of what Madrid can do, right? Like players wise, this thing. Madrid has a stacked midfield. I don't think they need to go out looking for midfielders. No. Valverde, Camavinga, Chouameni, Adagula, right? Bellingham, right? And the list goes on. The stack. I don't think they need to go out looking for anybody, right? Attack-wise, I definitely think Madrid need to go out and look for a proper right winger, right? This thing. Ideally, I would say go for Olise, but I don't know if Olise is available or Bayern's going to let Olise go, right? I don't know. But, and I think if he's going to leave Bayern right now, it's definitely going to have to be Madrid or the Barcelona, right? So if Madrid can go in for him, I would say they should go in for someone like Olise or look for somebody like that is a proper right winger right now. And I don't know who's out there. Now, maybe you can say Estevan, right? But listen, don't you dare, Madrid, don't you think about it. But him, I think they need that. And I also think they need a more reliable fullback. What's his name? Carvajal is inconsistent with injury. Like, he's out every single minute. Like, what's his name? Trent also out every single minute. Now, I think he's been out like 2 or 3 times already, right? So they need someone that can be more reliable. So then in general, I would say they should go for a fullback and maybe a center back if they can get one, right? And another fullback. Like so a left back, right back, and then a center back. I think that will help for now in terms of them being able to progress, right? Because we know center back they facing problem. Militao is also inconsistent. So Rudiger for me is I get the hype, right? The energy is there, but for me I don't rate Rudiger as a top center back. I'm not gonna lie. Listen, he was at Chelsea and I love it when he was under Thomas Tuchel. Yeah, like I love the guy, but I don't rate him as a top center back. I'll be honest with you. Like I think there are a lot that can be done, right? In terms of his work tactically, he doesn't give it to me, and so I definitely think Madrid should let go of him as maybe in the summer or so, and bring in some more of a proper center back as well. Magay is going to be out for free. I know they were linked with Konate, but don't go for Konate. Yeah, don't you dare go for Konate. Konate is another inconsistent human being as well, right? Don't go for him. And but yeah, in terms of that, so getting rid of Xavi, no, don't get rid of Xavi yet. At least give him the entire season and let's see what we can do with that. But they definitely need to pick up from. They cannot be playing like the way they're playing right now, because almost they play against Liverpool, they look dead. And now against City as well, they also lost. Now, I don't think they necessarily look dead when they play against City, because they actually did show a little bit of energy, right? And Mbappe not in that lineup, that also kind of says a little bit, because they also look a little bit better in the absence of Mbappe. Now, they lack the goals which Mbappe bring to the team. So in terms of Madrid, they definitely need to get those things and at least adapt to the philosophy of what's his name, Xavi, to be able to play like that. Because if everybody start playing like the way Xavi and the quote unquote want them to play, if the entire team can come together, so it's not just like it's bring the team together, but they also get to play better, because you're playing for me, I'm playing for you. The center back feel like the attackers are helping, the attacker feel that the center back are helping them, and everybody's together. I think that may work for Madrid. Now we move to Chelsea. Maresca. Nah. There are so many issues with Chelsea, right? When it comes down to Chelsea, even while the bad form we're going through this rough, patch right now in December, right? One, we can say we are cursed, right? We have that December curse. We can say that. But we can also say other things. Now, with Chelsea inconsistency in terms of form, now time to time, from time immemorial, we know Chelsea in terms of consistency, we struggle, right? We struggle in terms of consistency. We can win the league this year. Next year, we finish 16th or 10th, yeah? We usually do stuff like that. But, part of the reason is this, yeah? Inexperience is not in the entire club. It's not just in the squad. Now, I know when people talk about inexperience, they just talk about the Chelsea squad, the players. But now the inexperience comes from the owners themselves. They're new to football. Todd Boehly is new to football. Like, coming into the football business, not necessarily sport, right? But football, he's new to it. Not just him, Egbali and all those men, they're new to it. So in terms of experience, they don't have that much experience. So everything they're doing right now, they're learning as they go. So if you sitting there thinking that they're gonna just get everything right in the space of a minute, that's gonna be a problem. And one of the problems is that it's not just that they're hiring experienced people or getting experienced people, right? That's part of the reason why most people, especially me, I had a problem when they let Thomas Tuchel go, right? Because he had an experienced manager in him, right? And I'll come down to Maresca as to why I think that. They're also getting inexperienced people. So you see that in the players. And now with Maresca as well, he's also inexperienced to an extent. This is Maresca's first proper gig at the highest level, right? So he's learning how to be in the Premier League, play proper in the Premier League. We saw him even in his in-game management. He's learning that, right, at the highest level. He's also learning, being down with record. We're seeing get better at that, right? We saw that against Arsenal. Not just that, we're seeing Maresca progress in terms of him gaining experience as he goes. So the inexperience is not just with the players. So now the problem is not so much of the player, but now you have inexperienced coach plus inexperienced player, right? So especially if you watch this Atalanta game, you 100% see the inexperience of Maresca. Like to the highest level. So this game, as much as the player put down a shambolic, a shameful, right, or criminal performance, I also, you cannot look at them 100% and go, okay, it's their fault. It's also Maresca's fault. Because if you look at the changes that were made, because the lineup in itself was not necessarily bad. So there the players get to be fought for it. And there are so many reasons as to why you can look at them, right? And maybe you can say there's so many reasons as to why they play the way they play, right? Because if you look at, what's his name? Fernandez, he look a little bit fatigued, right? Not just him, Cucurella also, not. The man is playing day in, day out. You expect those type of performance. But when it comes down to it, you expect your team to also have your back as well. And it wasn't there. This game, the only reliable player that we have, or the player that had, a flawless performance, was Achempo. Other than that, the rest, I don't know what they were doing, right? But Maresca, when we talk about him, it's just like, we talk like there's so many things. Like I said, he's learning as he go on the job. So we have to be patient, and I know a lot of us, me number one, we don't have that patience. Chelsea fans, we don't have that patience with him. Like, we want to see improvement, we want to see ourselves getting better, and I know it's going to happen, but it's going to happen with time. But sometimes the mistake that Maresca made, it's not the case that we don't think Maresca is tactical. We see him against some of the best coaches, and he comes up on top. So we know there's something there, and that comes down to the potential of Chelsea. The entire Chelsea squad, from this coaching staff down, is potential FC, right? Except few people. Now, if you look at Rich James, you can say his potential. You look at Cucurella, not necessarily. These people have been there at the highest level, but almost everybody is basically potential FC, and that's what we're going for. Those are the players who go by, right? So you get my point. So it's like, like I said, he's learning on the job, and we see that day in, day out, and we have to be patient. And like, we see Maresca have potential when we see him against big managers, but then when it comes down to small, not small managers necessarily, but the smaller clubs, what we expect, a more dominant performance, as we saw against, the bigger teams and the better teams, right? We fall short, and that's the problem. Right, and it's not so much that we fall short; it's the way we fall short that that just annoys every one of us. So when we Chelsea fan complaining about Maresca, it's not the case that we don't think Maresca has nothing going for him as a coach. Right, now sometimes he look absolutely clueless if you watch him. Right, like this game again, I reference, but we know there's something there. We do know there's something there. It is what it is. It is what it is. But it's gonna take time. Basically, it's gonna take time for all of this to kind of come back together. Like I said, inexperience from the top to the bottom. So everybody's learning as they go, right? And another problem thing I want to highlight in Chelsea is the fact that we sadly, I'm hearing rumors about us getting rid of Pedro Neto, right? We buy these young players, now we're helping them gain experience, and then once they start to gain some sort of an experience, right, in the league, we should keep them, right, to be able to build this team to a certain level. Now we're trying to get rid of them, but hopefully that news doesn't go anywhere. But with Maresca, it's like the changes Maresca is making as well, and the substitutions, right? This game was another problem. Not just that, but time to time we've been having problem with Maresca in-game management, right? We knew he had to adjust to that. But the changes itself, I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but I have a problem with it because they may have made 129 changes in 20 games or so. Right, that's not just nuts. That's nuts at the higher level, and it can just keep happening over and over. Like, I trust the guy. I know Maresca what he can do, and I know did I say I trust him? Maybe, right, to an extent, But it's just like, it's too much, and we know you're trying to manage players like Reece James, like Fofana, and not just him, but And now we look at our injuries list. It's not that much anymore, right? We only have Lavia out. Cole also out, and maybe Palmer. Palmer is, because he cannot play an entire game. But Wesley Fofana is doing okay. Reece James is doing okay. We have seen Reece James play, consistent football for a year now. So, to that we have to, compliment Maresca for it, and his, and the entire Chelsea staff as well, because they are every single one of them are part of this, right? So we can't necessarily look at the changes and go, no, it shouldn't be happening, right? But sometimes if you just make the, I don't know, 9 different changes, how this player gonna learn how to play with one another? Because sometimes, like, the more you play with somebody, the more you get to understand it. It's simple. That's just life. But now with all these numerous of changes, and I think that's necessarily the problem. And another problem for Maresca again, or Chelsea in general, when we go to play this quote unquote a smaller team, right? They adjust to us, right? Because we're the bigger team. So now you see them sit back, they try to wait for the counter and then take advantage of us when we not expecting, or when there's an opening, right? So basically wait for the counter and then explode. We go there, or what are there at their home or at our home, and then we basically play them, right, according to their level, or maybe even worse, or adjust to them, basically. So while they adjusting to us, we also adjusting to them, and I think that's the problem. So sometimes I don't know if Maresca overthink it, because I know if you play PSG, you definitely need to think some things, right? If you're playing Arsenal, you definitely need to think. If you're playing Liverpool, Man City, you definitely should be thinking. Real Madrid, you definitely should be thinking about their style of play, what they do. Pay attention to every single details and try to take advantage of the things you can possibly take advantage of. But if you're playing against Leeds, Bournemouth, why are they trying to adjust to you? You also trying to adjust to their style of play. Jesus, what you doing? They're basically trying to adjust to you so that you don't take advantage of them, and you also trying to adjust to them. So what really we doing here? That's why you watched the Bournemouth game. That was a very good example of it. That game was dead. From Bournemouth didn't really do anything. Chelsea didn't do anything. That's as the result of both parties trying to adjust to one another. Bournemouth trying to adjust to Chelsea. Chelsea's trying to adjust to Bournemouth. Basically, that was it. And I think that's by far one of Chelsea's problem. Because when you go play these people, don't adjust to them. I know this may sound bad, but you shouldn't be adjusting to them, or we shouldn't be adjusting to them. We should be playing them like, they should be adjusting to us. Done. It's done. And we should go there, play our game, play our football, control the tempo, be the Chelsea that we are, right? We shouldn't be losing our identity because of Bournemouth, because of Leeds. No. For what reason? So, and again, predictability. When we started this season, right, Chelsea signed the quote-unquote Swiss Army knife type of player. We are all flipping over the moon, right? Esteva, Pedro Neto, Ja Pedro, they all can play in multiple different positions. And what that means, fluidity in the front line. Not just fluidity in the front line, but fluidity in the entire Chelsea squad. So, but now, if you watch Chelsea, there's nothing fluidity about the entire team. Is that Maresca's fault? Right? To an extent, yes. Now, the players themselves, you can say they're not good enough, or they haven't been good enough. Yes. But to an extent, it's Maresca's fault. Because right now we're too systematic. So now that kind of limit the natural ability of the players themselves. Because now if you get to a certain play wherein the natural ability is supposed to show, we are now trying to make an extra pass, do something that we shouldn't even be doing. Right? Because now we were all excited about the fluidity in the lineup, because I was imagining, the fact that Ja Pedro, Cole Palmer, they can all, mix, intertwine, flip around in an entire flipping lineup. I was excited about that, but now you don't get to see none of that. Now, I know Maresca talk about it. There's nothing quote-unquote free, like the free roll as a 10, because he said that's just pure chaos. Because for somebody like Palmer, sometimes you just need that chaos for him. Let him just move wherever he want to move. Right? Everybody will compensate, because if he move wherever he want to move, I promise you, Ja Pedro will move into that 10 position. And Ja Pedro is not necessarily a number 9. So he coming in while Palmer is out, definitely do help. And that creates space for a lot of play, because everyone know he's our best player. So wherever Palmer go, he's going to attract people there. That kind of creating space for other people to be able to get on the ball, to be able to show their own quality as well. And I think Maresca should be taking advantage of that. But no. So why are we struggling this December? Yeah, I think fatigue is one of it. Yeah, because if you look at some of our big name players, they're getting tired, bruv. And Maresca also is not helping. The inconsistency from Maresca too is not necessarily helping. And the performance haven't been the best. And maybe we need to go some better center back, because before our center backs were the problem, and now Fofana and Chalobah have found some sort of a good relationship. That looks like it's fixed. And Sanchez, that used to be our number one problem, not Sanchez is not even on our problem list. And our attackers, Ja Pedro, is number one on the list. Not just him, but every single one of them is starting to get on the list. Yeah, because we're not scoring goals, we're not creating that many chances anymore. So it's like we done out here. We are done out here. But I also don't think it's the end, because I know it's Chelsea. We struggle in December and then we pick it up, right? I know for the past 2 seasons we've been seeing that. Under Poch, it was there, right? We struggle, and then towards January we started picking form up and we started picking things up, and then we were able to find ourselves in a very good position at the end, like in the European position at the end of the season. Last season we did the same with Maresca. We found form lately, and then we took that form into the Club World Cup, and that was good as well. So now this season, and I'm also sure that Chelsea is going to pick up this form right now. January, what should Chelsea do? Quote unquote, go in for a center back and go in for a striker. Right now, do we actually need a center back if we got Josh Achampon that is coming? So that's kind of make me feel like no. It will also have Kowe coming back. So go in for a center back? I don't think so. Right? I wouldn't want it. But I just want the one that we have to get better. Definitely we need a proper number 9 to kind of give us goals, right? Because Ja Pedro is not doing it. Liam Delap is also not doing it. And we can rely on what's his name? Mike Gill. Mike Gill need to go on loan somewhere and get better, right? Next season, send the boy away. Let the boy go, right? And please, and I know we have another game coming on against Everton. Lord, please, right? Maresca, please. Chelsea, not just Maresca, but the entire team, please, yeah? We need this win, yeah? We need this win against Everton. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be rough, right? Because we are predictable as, I don't know. We are predictable like ABC, I don't know. Because look at what the Atalanta case said. He said we knew Chelsea was gonna slow down in the second half, and that was gonna be our point, and that was gonna be the time we pounced on them, and that was exactly what happened. Second half, we slowed down, they score, game over, Chelsea lost. Yeah, predictability. That's what I'm talking about. Because lately, what we've been doing, we play a game first half and then go right into the tunnel. Come out, it's like a whole different bunch of people come out, and the rest of them just stay in there, right? So it's like then second half we look absolutely sloppy. We look, I don't know, whatever we should, however way we should be looking, right? Terrible. You see, we are very much predictable, and I talk about that from the beginning of the season with Maresca. Predictability, right? And if we're going to succeed, we're going to do the things that we want to do, right? We need to be unpredictable to understand. Not everybody can read us like a book, right? No, right? It shouldn't be happening. That shouldn't be happening, right? It shouldn't be happening. So Maresca need to fix that, right? At least, I'm not saying overthink something. Some things you don't even need to overthink it, right? And I think sometimes that's his problem as well. So maybe he should be coming down, and the owners as well. Listen, we need proper people at this club at this, in this point at this point, right? We know, we're seeing what you're trying to do, right? We're not gonna be questioning your 16 years old signing. We know there are new 16-year-old kid that we just signed and all of that, right? But we definitely need Chelsea to be better, right? So in that case, listen, man, Todd, pull it together, bro. Egbali, pull it together, yeah? Joshua, put it together. All of you, Lord, put it together, yeah? We need to turn things around. Maresca, listen, brother, please put it together. Let me know your thoughts down below. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Listen, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and let me know your thoughts. Don't forget about that. See you in the next video. My preview is coming your way soon. Chelsea versus Everton. And I might bring you a preview for Madrid next game as well. So thank you very much. See you later. Cheers.